They say all men are created equal. Shot! Master! I'll pull out the Glock! Full of suffering, succotash, son!
One of your nuts is hanging out of your shorts.
Real glass!
You have a father, but your father's dead.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Too Sweet podcast, and I'm so excited because today I've got a close friend of mine joining me for an interview, and I'm really honoured because she doesn't do podcasts very often because she's selective, and we've been friends for a long time, so it feels like a full circle moment. And yeah, I'm joined by Natalie Sykes. Natalie, welcome to the Too Sweet, and thank you very much for joining me today.
No, that's absolutely fine. I'd just like to address the elephant in the room. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of angry men looking at this video now thinking, why hasn't Natalie Sykes responded to my Instagram DM requests? To be honest, I ironically don't really like talking about myself that much in like a wrestling context, which again, super ironic. And also, please ask me anything else other than how did I get into wrestling and what's my favorite match and who's my dream about. You can Google that. I've probably answered that question so many times you can Google it. Okay? There. I said my piece.
The other one that you said as well was don't ask me if I'd prefer to sign for WWE or AEW.
That is another one that people just love to ask, and I completely get it. But just don't ask me that. Just don't.
Well,
It's
damn,
not.
there goes all 5 of my opening questions.
End of the
drawing
interview.
board. But yeah, I guess I know you said you don't like talking about yourself too much, and I appreciate that. And sometimes it is uncomfortable, isn't it? Like when people are asking you questions. So I really do appreciate you, Natalie, for taking the time to provide some content for the Too Sweet viewers, and I think everyone will be really honoured to hear your story. So, I mean, if people aren't familiar with Natalie, she's wrestled across the UK, mainstay at North. You might have seen her at places like Rev Pro, Eve, Progress, Atomic, True Grit, and even across the world. You've wrestled a lot in the US. So people who might not be familiar, like, give us the TLDR of Natalie Sykes. Where did it begin? How long have you been wrestling for?
So Natalie Sykes first went wrestling training when I was 15 years old. It has been 10 years since my first training session. 25 now. What the hell? Am I allowed to swear? Is that okay?
Yeah, you can swear, it's fine.
What the fuck? And yeah, I'm known as the 21st century liability, which means that I spent more time on TikTok than getting ready for this podcast. So I have no makeup on. I'm in my comfy clothes.
Same.
I have excellent. I have a screen time of 24 hours. It's kind of bad. But yeah.
And I think that's suitable because we met on social media, didn't we? So all those years ago, I think the group chat was made in 2016 that we're still in to the day.
Yeah.
Because of What Culture Pro Wrestling, it brought us together, and we're still. It's wild to look back because now, like, one of us has kids, and then us two. I mean, it's still wild to me when I get to commentate on your matches and things like. I mean, we've come a long way. When the group chat leaves the group chat, it's crazy.
Yeah, 100%. And for context, because I am ready to speak my truth, I'm ready to spill my law. I used to run a What Culture Pro Wrestling Tumblr account.
We're getting the deep cuts now.
You're getting the deep cuts. This is probably the first time, like, confessing it publicly. Like, a few people know. Funnily, like, Jack the Jobber knows and, like, has come see me wrestle, which is super weird. And we always talk at shows. And then Simon Miller as well, who I've been lucky enough to share the locker room with. I have told him, I was like, hey, I used to run a WCPW What Culture Tumblr account, and I just feel like I'm ready to live my truth now. I'm ready to take the mask off. It was me all these years, but it's how I met you guys online, and then yeah, group chat's still going strong, but like 10 years later, we are all like grown ups, and you are you're commentating, you're doing the podcast, I'm wrestling, we've got others who are in like really happy relationships, and one's just had a baby, which feels sort of super weird that at the center of all that is what culture.
Yeah, it is so strange, isn't it? And like the it was just a load of weird fangirls being weird, essentially. I mean, we were just nerdy and we were obsessed with what culture pro wrestling, and then I mean, the domino effect of that is wild. I
Yeah, definitely.
I worked with Simon Miller for the first time like a couple of weeks back at Atomic, and I was like, "No, I'm not ready to tell him yet. I'm not ready to reveal all."
He loves it. When I told him, he found it very funny. And also Sam Driver, shout out Sam Driver, who I see all the time at North Wrestling now. That also just feels really weird that I'm just working with these people now. Kind of funny.
It is kind of funny, and yeah, just so many memories, just so much lore. But yeah, we got the exclusive reveal on the Too Sweet podcast. That's what we're all about. We're all about exclusives, and like you
Nice.
say, unveiling the mask. It's the face behind What Culture Tumblr. I'm sure you were all shaking in your boots, wanting to know who was behind it. I mean, yeah, that is. We're off to a juicy start. But you said that you started training. You were only 15, and that's crazy young. What was it like when you started? Was wrestling something that you took to quite quickly or not?
Um, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say I didn't take to the like physicality part. Maybe like wrapping my head around the actual intricacies of moves and the kind of sporty side. I've always pitched myself as more of a like theatre kid, like drama school kind of person. Um, so just kind of getting to grips with the actual sport side of things, I don't think came to me that easily when I first started.
Yeah, but you continued to work hard and like work on that. When when did you make your debut after that beginning training?
I debuted when I was 17. Um, so about 2 years, 2 years after my first training session, in 2018, I made my debut.
What company was that at?
That was at the school that I began my training with. They were called Grapple, and they were based out of Morley, which is luckily close to where I live in Leeds. And yeah, just them.
I'm curious as well. Were your family like supportive of you starting wrestling? Have they ever seen you wrestle?
Um, they're definitely supportive, and they have seen me wrestle. I think at first it was just kind of like a, what? You want to go to wrestling school? I think a lot of them didn't really know what that would mean. We were a very WWE heavy family. Like, they all knew what wrestling was. We all used to watch wrestling when we were kids. It's something we were super familiar with. But I don't think they knew what it meant in terms of that would then lead on to like the independent scene and
Mm.
kind of those opportunities. I think they just thought it was a bit of fun, maybe a bit of
Yeah.
like an after school club at first. But they get it now and they are super supportive, so that's great.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, it's the same thing with my mum. She always used to say, "I don't know how she got into wrestling. It's just never really understood it and just thought I'd grow out of it. It's not a phase, mum." Um, Brit Wres has been through, I mean, it's changed so much in the time that we've known each other, and also since you started, since you debuted, to be honest, 2018, COVID speaking out amongst many, many other things. So I'm curious, do you think that the scene has changed in that time, like for better or for worse? And what are the biggest, perhaps, things that you've noticed?
So I would say yes. It's 100% changed. And I would say for the better.
Hmm.
It is hard to tell though, because around the time of speaking out, around the time of COVID, I still was pretty green. Like, I still hadn't been on shows for that long. I was still finding my feet and kind of gaining my confidence in a way.
Hmm.
So I can't tell if since the pandemic, since speaking out, there seems to be a lot more community, I think. But I don't know if that's just because I've been around a lot longer. I know everyone better, so I feel that sense of community. I, f- I don't know. I feel like we've, of course, I feel like training schools have been held to a higher standard now, which they always should have been. I just feel like it is taken more seriously now, and people have that understanding of going to reputable training schools, um, owned by people who do have that experience, do genuinely know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
which is so helpful, because now we're just getting all the newer people who are like so much better. I think the quality of training has improved. Um, yeah, I just think everyone's maybe just a bit kinder, but again, I don't know if that's because I know people now and I've made those friendships, and I was maybe a bit more intimidated at first. Um, I try to be as welcoming to any new people that I either meet or wrestle, and I think other people would say the same about themselves. So maybe we've gotten a bit nicer, maybe less of a boys' club. I feel like that we've still got issues, but we're generally more of a community now. Maybe that's my answer.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer, and I would agree with that. I think that it's less normalized now for like yeah, like say like a boys' club or like hazing or bullying. I think, oh, and I totally get what you mean because it's like, okay, now I'm in the community, so is it just because I feel part of it, and can I really compare it when I wasn't there? But you hear stories of what things used to be like, and it certainly seems it's cooler to be nice now. Um, I get
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
But what you said about it being a boys' club is definitely something that I wanted to touch on in this interview. So like your character leans into the whole girly pop thing, and I think there's something to be said about this is in such a male-dominated space, and like especially in sport and nerdy cultures that we talk about a lot on the podcast, where like fangirls are looked down on and like patronized. But I love the fact that you embrace that and you can still be girly, but you can still be tough, you can still have an attitude, you still beat people up, or you can be you're a face as well, but you can do it all, and it's multifaceted. um so I wanted to know about what was the process for getting to this point with your gimmick. Was it something that you like a conscious thing that you visualize, and how has it evolved throughout the years?
Um, it wasn't something that was intentional. I think it gets said a lot that the best wrestling characters or gimmicks are a kind of heightened version of yourself. Like, I am Natalie Sykes. I am girly pop. Inside, outside the ring. I am obsessed with pop culture. I fucking love Hello Kitty. I love the girly stuff. It maybe didn't start that way. as I first started training, I obviously took Sykes from Ollie Sykes, the lead singer of Bring Me the Horizon, and the checkerboard kind of came from like skateboard culture, skater. I thought I was going to be a bit more pop punky, alternative, and I still kind of am.
Hmm.
I'm just a mishmash of everything that I like and I am genuinely passionate about. Like I'll have shades of Avril Lavigne. I'll have shades of Olivia Rodrigo as like the new kind of pop girl. Um, that's kind of how it evolved, as me being more comfortable bringing myself to the character, to the gimmick. But I do think it is important that I am like still girly pop as a wrestler. Um, like fangirls are so important to any culture. We started off as what culture fangirls, and here we are. It's like the same to be said about girls who run stan accounts for musicians or TV shows, and they're putting in the work to make these edits and again like build that community. It is so important, and I would love for those people to feel seen at a wrestling show. And I do think they sort of are now, in the way that I wrestled Aluna recently at North Wrestling in Newcastle, and it we were just beefing about like a friendship bracelet, and it was kind of silly and it was kind of girly pop, but the crowd were into it. Like they were invested, and they kind of bit onto that and just were like, "Yep, this match is 100% girly pop, and that's okay."
100%. I completely agree, and I'm so glad that you brought that up about how important fangirls are to culture and everything. Often they dictate like what is cool, and the amount of fan labor that goes into to things like that. There's certainly a lot of importance in that, whereas a lot of men like to look down on it. It's important. And you touched on there like some influences on your style and sort of character wise, and I was wondering what sort of I guess what influences do you have on like your in-ring style? It might be inside or outside of wrestling.
um, yeah, it's that one's a good question, because it's not necessarily that my in-ring style has been influenced by my favorite wrestlers. So my favorite wrestler is Jeff Hardy, but I don't think you'll ever catch me doing any sort of flip, any any flips off a ladder. I don't see that for me, and
Hmm.
I think again going back to the fact that maybe the sports physicality side of wrestling didn't really come natural to me. I feel like I am still coming to terms with that. So I look to people like Orange Cassidy or Maki Ito in terms of these like big characters who are still very cool, got lots of aura, um, and they're still wrestling. They're fantastic wrestlers, but maybe just giving me some inspiration on kind of how to cover up the fact that I can't do a moonsault.
So obviously there's so many wrestlers on the scene, so many talented people, including yourself, of course. But limited spots. How hard is it to secure a spot, especially when they're so limited for women in particular?
Uh, yeah, it's pretty hard because you are competing with your friends essentially.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many talented wrestlers and talented women who I love seeing thrive. I love seeing being booked on shows and having their moment. Um, but for me, I'm quite lucky that I've got my staple companies who do want to continue working with me, which is fantastic. Um, but yeah, it can be quite tough because as much as you think that wrestling could be this kind of like niche, still kind of like underground hobby or job for most people, um, There's actually fucking loads of us. There's so many wrestlers, so many people trying to be wrestlers, which is great. Um, but it can feel like you're being rejected quite a lot, and that's something that you kind of have to deal with when you become a wrestler.
Yeah, definitely. I guess you have to be quite mentally tough to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, I guess so. It's almost like exposure therapy for like just get rejected. Like you yourself in your like commentary um journey. I guess you want to call it commentary journey.
Yeah, we can call it that. It's definitely it's been a journey.
Yeah, I'm sure you have dealt with promoters and been rejected, and it's
Yeah.
not necessarily anything to do with like your quality or how good you are. It's genuinely just because the spots are so limited. They can't have 10 commentators, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I feel like it can be quite difficult.
Yeah, definitely. You have to kind of learn to not take it seriously. I mean, seriously. Well, seriously, yes, but
No, seriously.
what I meant to say was personally, actually. Because like you said, it's not to do with the fact that it, and if you maybe you're having a bad day or you're feeling a bit sensitive for whatever that day, you might think, oh, it's because I'm shit. It's because I'm fucking stuck and I'm bad at everything. I certainly have days like that, but then you have to take a step back and be like, no, it's not because I suck. It's like you said, there's limited spots, and often these promoters have a lot of people in their DMs, in their emails, trying to get opportunities, and it's well, yeah, sometimes it's not that serious.
Yeah, 100%. I think that is something that I, for better or for worse, have learned now that I've been around a while. It's not that deep. And I know for some people might listen to that and be like, well, some people are full-time wrestlers. It is that deep to them. Some people want it so bad, it's that deep to them. It was that deep to me too. And then I just started not letting it affect me like that. And not trying to be defined by my wrestling and what I do in wrestling. That's not just who I am. There's a lot more to me than whether or not I get booked certain weekends, or if I don't get booked certain weekends, I will find happiness having a weekend off wrestling. I will find happiness traveling with my friends and wrestling on a bunch of different shows. I've learned that balance of don't take it too serious. It's not that deep.
I think that's a great sort of level of personal growth to get to that point where it's like this does not define me. And although yeah, I love wrestling, it means a lot to me, want to be successful. Everyone does, but it's not you don't define your self-worth by that because if you do, you drive yourself insane.
100%.
And this question actually comes from Estelle, who is normally my co-host on the Too Sweet podcast, which I thought was a really interesting question, on the same sort of vein as this. Do you think, like, out of principle, that wrestling shows should aspire to be, equal in terms of representation, like 50-50 men and women in an ideal world? Or is, I guess, are we basing it off just purely like meritocracy? So those who are the best and who work hard get the spots. I mean, how it's a tough one, I think. Like, how exactly do wrestling promotions should they tread that line?
That is very interesting. I don't know how much perspective I can give as someone that doesn't book a wrestling show.
Mhm.
I do not know the logistics. Personally, I would love representation.
Yeah.
And I feel like, again, going back to how has wrestling evolved since I first started, I feel like we are getting consistent representation. I feel like that's important. Consistent
Yeah.
representation. I don't think all shows should be 50-50 or a box has to be ticked for each show. I understand that logistics might affect who is booked on a certain show. and other stuff like that. I feel like maybe people who aren't ready shouldn't be booked because they maybe tick a box.
Yeah.
And it should be the people that are working hard and are putting out, good quality wrestling. It's quite tricky. I want I want everyone to do well, and I want everyone to be represented and feel seen um, in wrestling as a whole. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Hopefully
it's
that
okay.
makes
It's a
sense.
good answer. Yeah, it makes complete sense because it's so hard, and we talked about it. We talk about it all the time on the podcast because AEW is what we primarily talk about, and they are not always the best with putting out the women's matches, even though they've got a stacked roster. We talk about it all the time. There's never a straight answer for that type of thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can definitely go around in circles kind of debating it. Um, it just as long as promoters and companies are conscious, I think. As long
Yeah.
as they're just very aware of like what the shows are looking like, what the cards have been looking like, and going, oh, maybe we're not actually doing our best to represent more people and help more people be seen. Um, there's always work that could be done. No one will be perfect, but I think it's important to acknowledge it and try to be self aware about it going forward.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. And you have wrestled a couple of times over the years for Eve, which is their all women's promotion. So what's that? What's it like there? Have you got any highlights from working at Eve?
Yeah, I mean, working at Eve is a fantastic atmosphere. They're great shows, and obviously the team, whether that be backstage, like the off-screen talent and the on-screen talent, do so much for women's wrestling, and has been doing for years, right? They've been bringing women to the forefront and being like, they're putting a spotlight on them and be like, they are just as good, if not better, than some of the men. And they deliver great product, great production. I've always loved every time that I've wrestled at Eve. It's allowed me to wrestle people like Nightshade and Session Moth Martina and Nina Samuels and get that experience, especially when I was just first starting out, of like wrestling that caliber of people and getting those opportunities. Um, and they've always been great to me.
That's really great to hear. And talking about that and like the team and stuff, what's it actually like on show day when you're there and you're surrounded by everyone? Do you get nervous in that type of situation when you're getting ready for your match?
I think it depends on the situation because sometimes for some shows I know that they're super low pressure, like family shows. I know I'm going to have fun and all my friends are going to be there. It's going to be a good day. Maybe when shows feel a lot bigger or I feel like it's quite a big opportunity, maybe the person that I'm wrestling is, super high caliber, lots of experience. I do get nervous before my match because I'm like, oh, don't fuck up, please, do not fuck up. Or maybe the locker room is full of people I don't really know very well. I can be kind of nervous about it. Um, but usually, I think most of the time, I'm pretty chill. 75% of the time, I think I'm not really that nervous, and I'm used to it now. And I've dealt with my pre-show nerves a lot better now.
Well, you're a veteran now, like eight years of experience. When do you qualify as a veteran? When do you get the veterans discount in wrestling? Is it like 10 years, 15 years? What are we
I
saying?
don't I don't know. I've had it before where people have been like, Natalie, and I'm putting you against this person because it'd be such good experience for them. I got a message the other day asking if I wanted to join a training school as a coach, and I was like, no. was like, I'm still learning. Like I'm not there yet. I'm definitely not there yet. So I don't know.
Oh, Natalie, that just speaks to how humble you are, though, and that obviously people want to learn from you, clearly.
Don't know what they can learn other than how to waste your afternoon doom scrolling TikTok and Instagram reels.
Well, that is skill, I believe. Um, so do you, as a veteran, do you prefer to plan matches beforehand, or do you are a person who likes to call it on the fly?
Um, I 100% lean towards planning in advance. I maybe fall into a habit of I really like to overthink every detail.
Right.
So I do like to discuss it. I will ask lots of annoying questions. I will like map everything out in my mind. But then when it comes to certain things, like a heat, for example, don't really. I'll talk to you in there. It's fine. That
So
I'm cool. Yeah.
it's like a mix of both. Um, I suppose. So then what if you plan something or something's just not quite clicking, it's not landing with the audience, then what?
Like how do you mean?
So maybe you've planned like, I don't know, a story of the match or something, or maybe it's the character work or something the audience is not biting. Has that ever happened to you?
I feel like it must have. I feel like again, I know I've used this example because I think it's the one that happened the most recent is again I wrestled a Luna at North and the match before us opened the show and it was Daz Black and Jay Joshua.
Yes, I have actually watched that match. It was really good.
Right? It was really
Yeah.
good. The next match is me coming out with a friendship bracelet, like, please, Luna, please be my friend. Um, and that had every opportunity to tank. I had every opportunity for no one to think it was funny, for no one to care, um, for things not to hit, but they did. And that's fantastic. I feel like in the case that if that didn't land well with the audience or they didn't really care, um, oh God, what would I have done? Um, Probably would have kept everything the same, but maybe I would have tried being like, okay, maybe they want maybe less talking, less breaks to joke and riff and have a laugh. And maybe, after they've just seen Daz Black and Jay Joshua, they want like the hard hitting. Maybe we just need to cut all that and just start kicking the shit out of each other. um, but very fortunate that I don't have any memories of that ever happening. I've had times where I've hit a move and that's not really gotten like the reaction I wanted. And I've kind of like in that moment gone, no, I thought you guys would have thought that was sick. But in that case, I would then take it to Liam at PBW and I'll be like, why didn't they care about this? And then he will help me break it down and we tweak it. We'll try it again at another show. Did they react better? Did they still not care? And we just kind of see how it goes.
I guess that's the nature of the beast with wrestling. It's a lot of trial and error, isn't it? You don't really know until you do it in front of a crowd. But do you get quite a good instinct when you've worked somewhere like North, for example, that okay, this is the type of thing that they like and you think it is going to work well?
Um, I think with North specifically, again, I think I'm just really confident with my role on the
Yeah.
roster. I'm really comfortable in my character maybe and having that emotional connection to the audience.
Mm.
I think that's more important is that I've managed to put myself across um, to the crowd because at first when I first debuted at North, I was a bit of an NPC. Like they kind of didn't really know what I was about, but slowly but surely I was on more shows consistently. I did a lot of promos. The team have given me a lot of, great opportunities, great opponents, and I think that is how I've managed to get that gut feeling of like, I know when my entrance music hits, they're gonna cheer, and that's a fantastic feeling. So I know that they'll be like willing to bite for the stuff that I do because they already know what I'm about at this point.
Hmm.
But I can imagine if I debuted somewhere new, I would be nervous in the fact that like, God, I hope they get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely understand what you mean. And North is very unique, isn't it, in the way that they run shows. They've got that really dedicated fan base that will have followed your journey and, like you say, understand what you're all about. And that is, I believe, like an 18 plus audience as well. And I know you mentioned earlier about sometimes a family friendly show can be less pressure because you just have fun with it. So do you have a preference between those two types of shows?
Um, Not really. Again, it can be it's such a spectrum. I do love a family-friendly show. Again, have loads of fun, um, and it's a great time. Then the over 18 shows, again, I have loads of fun, but in a different, like I'm applying a different sort of psychology to the North matches, or Rise is another one, for example, that's 18 plus. I'm applying different logic depending on which show I'm at. But I love a puzzle. I love figuring stuff out, applying certain logic to different shows, like understanding the audience is very fun. So I don't particularly have a preference.
Yeah, fair enough. And but do you have a favorite town or city that you've wrestled in that you particularly love the crowd?
I mean, I have to say Leeds, right?
I thought you might say that.
I have to say Leeds, but now that I think about it, I don't actually know how much I've actually wrestled in Leeds compared to other cities. I feel like my actual answer is Newcastle.
Hmm.
Newcastle has always been really good, especially the North crowds. Kind of dipping back into that last question, North have run family friendly shows before, and they have always been great as well. I even at the 18 plus shows that North run, I'll have people come up to me at merch being like, do you mind if I FaceTime my daughter? Like, she really wants to say hi to
Oh,
you. She's such a good fan. Like, she's such a big fan. Or people come up to merch and be like, um, all my kids have been asking me about is like getting more of your friendship bracelets. And it can be, really sweet to hear that and kind of experience that kind of community, whether you're a child, or you're a parent, or you're an adult.
that's so
I actually
wholesome.
forgot what the original question was.
The original question was, "What's your favorite? Where's your favorite place to wrestle?" I think you basically said Newcastle.
Yeah, I'm
Because
glad that I managed to swivel that onto a tangent. It's Newcastle. I think realistically, my favourite place to wrestle is Newcastle. I feel like I've got a good connection with everyone that comes through North, especially. Yeah, and then all that long-winded.
well, that reminds me, you appeared in Morecambe for the very first time not so long ago, which is a very historical wrestling town, very family friendly, lots of kids, lots of families there. So what was that like? And can you give us any insight into what you'll get up to next time in Odyssey, you devious woman?
Um, so what I heard before I went to Morecambe to cause some chaos was it's still real in Morecambe. Fantastic. Um, which I think is great. That's so much more fun than like parents that have brought their kids and they're just like, what are we watching? Like, what is
Indifferent,
going on?
yeah.
Um, for those who need the context, I turned up at Odyssey with my sights set on the women's champion, Lana Austin, because I want a bit of that. I already have 2 championships for different promotions. I feel like I want a bit of that. And I feel like forming that alliance with Leah Raven just gets me one step closer. So if I have to blindside Holly Barlow and Lana Austin at a show, I'm gonna do it. Hey, sue me, I'm gonna do it. So at the next show, it will be a tag match between me and Leah Raven versus Lally.
Fantastic. I mean, that is a banger of a match. Have you wrestled it in many tag team matches before? I mean, I don't think have you tagged with Leah Raven before?
I have not tagged with Leah Raven before, so I feel like that would be really interesting to know what our dynamic is like. I feel like we're both very chaotic in different ways, so I'm excited to see that clash. I have wrestled in a couple of tag matches. In fact, I have a win over Lally.
Oh, that's juicy. That's a juicy scoop.
I wrestled Lally at North, and my tag team partner was Kanji. But if I remember correctly, I'm the one that got the pin.
Oh, now then. Now
Hmm.
then. Another exclusive
Interesting
to a
law.
sweet podcast. Yeah, that is interesting law. I will be bringing that up on commentary. Don't make no doubt about that.
Good.
These little juicy tidbits of information.
Hmm.
How do tag team matches compare to like singles action? Do you find it easier or harder?
Hmm. I feel like it's kind of easier, right? Because you usually only have to be 50% responsible.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, you've got double the opponents. So I feel like in some ways it can be harder.
Hmm.
I think tag matches can be really fun. I also sometimes it's hard to tell if you'll get along with your tag team partner. Like, I don't have a set tag team partner. I don't have like a Holly Barlow or Lana Austin or Sapphire Reed and Yvonne. I don't have like a cohesive tag team partner. I'm, a bit self-centered like that.
Well,
So tag matches can be hit or miss sometimes.
well, it's valid. Sometimes you don't want to share the spotlight with someone else, and then that's totally understandable. And I don't like other people either. I wouldn't really want to be in a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess in tag team matches, there's quite a lot of moving parts, isn't there? Which can sometimes make them difficult to commentate on. And I can only imagine what it's like for the people actually in the ring.
Yeah, I bet you're like, I can't remember who's tagged who should be in the ring, and they're all fighting each other.
Absolute chaos. And the same with multi-people matches. And that's why I respect referees very highly because my word.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give if there's any young wrestlers listening to this who are thinking about getting into wrestling, maybe thinking about training and they want to break into it? What pearls of wisdom can you give?
Um, it would be find a reputable training school. Like, do your research. Look into who your coaches are, um, what they have done, if their style of wrestling is something that suits you, if you think that they've got the right experience. Um, a lot of training schools now, again, post-pandemic, post-speaking out, they will have a lot of safeguarding information. Look at a school that's got the safeguarding information. It's so important,
Yeah.
especially if you're young, that, you know, you're going to be looked after
Yeah.
when you go training. And yeah, I think if I were to go back, I would try and get that mindset of it's not that deep kind of cemented early on. But also, I think I would have put more into it, if that makes sense. I
Okay.
feel like I could have committed a bit more at the start. Obviously, when I started training, I was 15. So when I was wrestling, I did my GCSEs, my A levels, and I got my degree.
Yeah.
I obviously had times when I was being at uni and enjoying uni life. I feel like I maybe could have locked in a bit more and just been honest with myself and kind of locked in on the wrestling, on the fitness, on the gym routine, and built a better foundation to kind of set me up for these kind of years now where I'm on shows a lot more. Um, yeah, maybe that's what I would say to
It,
anyone
it
watching.
yeah, it makes sense. I guess what you're saying is like be prepared to put in the hard work and commit. At the same time, don't let it define your entire self-worth, like we were saying
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah, I think you have put that much more elegantly than I did.
I think because people maybe who watch wrestling, they see the in-ring side of it, which is obviously a very important facet to it, but behind the scenes, like you mentioned, the working out, there's the social media side of things, self-promotion, maintaining the look, like I don't know, getting your hair done, doing your makeup, working out your gear, the travel, merchandise. There's so many things that go into it. I mean, do you, how on earth do you balance all of that?
I don't. um, there is so many moving parts, and especially when you are an independent wrestler, you are responsible for all this. You don't have like an assistant to post on my social media for me or do all this stuff. Um, so it is hard. It is something I deal with all the time. I feel guilty about like again, I before this podcast, instead of getting ready, I scrolled TikTok, I scrolled Instagram Reels, and I probably in that time could have, gone for a run. I probably could have edited content. I probably could have posted TikToks. There's so much more that I can be doing. And I battle with that like back and forth all the time. Is I'm very self-conscious of maybe it's time for me to get new gear. I feel like I've worn all I need to switch it up. Maybe I'll switch my hair color up. Maybe I need to become TikTok famous. I need to do all this. And it's like, girl, can you get out of bed first? Maybe that's step one. Step one, get out of bed. Um, yeah, it is a lot of moving parts. But again, I really love that kind of creative aspect to it and kind of having so much to sink my teeth into. It's just kind of not procrastinating when I need to do it. Yeah.
It's impossible though, isn't it? Because you could beat yourself up for not being productive every single minute of every single day because, like you said, there's always something else that you could be doing, I
Mm.
suppose. Even if you did, 24 hours a day, you were constantly working on wrestling, there'd still be something that someone else is doing that you're not doing that you feel like you could improve in. You're never going to win, I think, in that aspect. It's like you have to have boundaries. That those boundaries of like, and obviously you work in the normal office job, and on top of that, it's like, well, when the hell do you get time to rest? It's like you can't have everything. It's never going to be okay. I am at full productivity mode because otherwise you just burn out.
Burnout. Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, that's so true, especially when you factor in that for some people, wrestling isn't their full-time job. And I respect the hell out of everyone that is just trying to make it work. I understand your pain.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I mean, I think I mentioned travel briefly there, and you have quite a number of flags in your Instagram bio, the ultimate medal of achievement in wrestling. You've wrestled in a number of countries. So what I want you to know, like, what's it like going to a new country, and do you have any sort of highlights from wrestling abroad?
Definitely. I mean, kind of back to the earlier conversation of if I'm ever nervous or get that gut feeling that either things are going to go good or bad, it's me going to a country I've never wrestled to before and going, they're either going to love this or they are going to hate this. And it can be quite hard, especially in some cases that you feel like there could be a language barrier,
Mm.
um, also kind of factors in, or maybe the style of wrestling that they're used to or expect may not always be that like British indie, American indie kind of match. Um, so, but it's always so exciting. It is definitely something that I feel very fortunate about, that I get to go to all these countries kind of through wrestling. I would say my highlights from international stuff would be, I mean, wrestling in Houston, Texas, because of course that is where I was born. I feel like that feels sort of full circle in the sense that that's where I watched wrestling for the first time. That's where I found wrestling. And then to come back and be like 30 minutes from the house that I grew up in and wrestle feels kind of weird. That is definitely a highlight. Or just I've been to India. I feel like India was my first international booking,
Oh
which is
wow.
a crazy sentence to say.
It's far away. It's very far away. Most
Very
people
far
go to
away.
Europe or something.
Um, so like yeah, getting those experiences of going to India, that like who could say that? That's so crazy. And I'd been to Bulgaria as well. There was an amazing show out in Bulgaria at the start of this year, and the crowd were amazing, and the atmosphere was really good, and the production was fantastic. I was in Bulgaria, like that's such a side quest. But yeah, that it was yeah, really good show.
Like it's fantastic that wrestling's like opened up those doors for you, the international travel. And speaking of which, like, how do you feel when you see, like, for example, the recent crop of WWE tryouts, people like Leon Slater, Will Cruz, going from sharing locker rooms with yourself to smashing it on that global stage?
Yeah, I mean, like that's amazing. People who I am lucky to call friends are just absolutely smashing it. But it just makes sense. Like they've always grafted really hard. They did not procrastinate for 1 second. Leon Slater did not procrastinate for 1 second. He always, like always, the hardest worker. Will Cruz, just fantastic, fantastic person, fantastic look. Um, and even for my friends that are fulfilling their dreams in other ways, like Kid Like Us too, is out in Japan right now with Noah. Something I've always heard him talk about, something he wanted so, so bad. To see people kind of reaching their dreams and hitting their goals is also just so wholesome. So wholesome to see your friends succeed. That's great.
I completely agree. It really is. It's the best feeling. And it's like you say, it's when people they put the hard work in and it pays off. It's beautiful to see and surreal as well. And these people like on your screens, it's like what on earth is happening?
Yeah.
So when thinking back to young Natalie watching wrestling in Houston for the very first time, what do you think the young Natalie would think of you now? What do you think she would be most proud of?
Um, what would I be most proud of? I think the fact that I was able to just combine everything like Hello Kitty, and I put wrestling in there, and we're just kind of doing it all, doing it, doing all. Because I feel like I don't know how to phrase it. I don't want to say ambitious, maybe more like I wanted to be a lot of things.
Hmm.
I feel like I wanted to be a bunch of creative things when I was a kid, and I get to fulfill that in wrestling. Mainly, I would be proudest that I get to be annoying and no one can be mad at me for it, and that I am the center of attention. I feel like that's probably the biggest thing.
You get paid to be a menace.
100%. Yeah, that is fantastic. That's a flex.
Absolutely. It 100% is. And I think she'll be very proud of how far you've come. I think you've had a amazing career so far and I think like the sky's the limit for Natalie Sykes. And speaking of which, like, what sort of ambitions do you have?
Um, Fantastic question. I myself would like to do a tour of Japan. I would love to wrestle in Japan. Um, I would love to do more of the United States. I've only wrestled in Texas. Would love to kind of get more states ticked off the list, experience more promotions out there, and Australia. I might take a visit to
Ooh.
Australia, see what's going on down under, see what's going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Teddy Ray has recently returned from going to Australia, and he said that the opportunities there were fantastic. And yeah, again it's a long way away, other side of the world, and there's such a different wrestling scene going on there. Do you have any plans for international or any sort of exciting things that you can tell us about?
Um, so this weekend, I am doing Austria on Saturday and Bulgaria on the Sunday,
Wow.
which the big Euro weekender, which is super cool. And it's also super cool because I'm doing it again. They are bringing me back. I went at the start of the year, and now I'm going back again to do this insane weekend of traveling, which I am very grateful for. Again, the opportunity is going to be fantastic. But outside of that, nothing crazy going on. Nothing crazy planned yet. I might consider some other opportunities of like going abroad. I'm just not set in stone where or when.
Okay, so we'll watch this space and
Watch
look
this
forward to
space.
finding out.
As long as I don't procrastinate, it might happen this year. We don't know.
It will. I believe in you. You can tear yourself away from TikTok and you can do it. Channel those creative juices. So I that's pretty much all of my serious questions, but I'd like to end the interview with a couple of daft ones.
Okay.
Um, so first of all, I'm gonna list three things. You have to choose one that you can get rid of forever,
Hmm.
but it means that the other two double in frequency.
Okay.
So choose wisely. So number one, we have men in your Instagram DMs begging you to appear on their podcast. Number two, bots asking you if you need any custom belts.
Good, good. Yep.
And number three is the use of AI to promote wrestling shows.
Ooh. I mean, they're all terrible. They're all
Yeah, that's the
terrible.
idea.
But I feel like I have to be quite selfless, which is really hard for me. I think I would have to get rid of the use of AI, right? And then I will take all the DMs about custom championship belts and all the DMs about going on podcasts. Um, I mean, I'm not happy about it, but to save the earth, get rid of AI to promote wrestling events. It's stupid. Just pay a designer to make your posters, please.
And I completely agree, and I appreciate you taking one for the team there. It's the second time I've asked that question, and the other person said the same thing. I might have to keep this an ongoing
Yeah.
thing, see how many people we can get to say fuck AI on the podcast, essentially.
Yeah. Fuck AI. And then anyone who doesn't do it, I think we should call them out in public and we should make fun of them.
Hashtag cancelled. Agreed. Agreed.
Agreed.
So next question. One of your most iconic moments in wrestling, I believe, was when you called Isaiah Quinn a wombling cunt, which I believe was at Catch Pro Wrestling, is that right?
I think that was North.
Okay, at North Wrestling.
That was North.
So my question to you is, who else do you think is a wombling cunt? Who else?
You're
Hashtag
trying to
cancelled.
get me in trouble.
Yeah, this might be a
Um,
hashtag cancel moment.
Legally, I don't think I'm allowed to answer that question. Publicly, I'll tell you in the DMs later, though. Don't you worry about it. Who do I think is a wombling cunt? Um, Liam Slater, anytime he tries to get me to do physical activity at training.
When he tries to get you to do the thing that you pay him to do.
Yeah,
How
ooh.
dare he?
Yeah, it's just like, don't make me do a bunch of burpees. I don't really like it. There you go.
Good answer. Good answer, and I'll await the DM later. And finally, if you could ban one thing from wrestling locker rooms for good, what would it be? And I don't mean like obviously things like shitty behavior. I mean something a bit that might be controversial but a bit silly. For example, for me, deep heat. Get rid of it. It
Oh
stink.
no, no.
Smells like
I
shit.
like it.
You like the smell of it?
I like
Or
the smell of it. I like the smell of it. I use it.
I
Crack
appreciate
on,
it.
I say.
It can help with injuries, but just respect nostrils. It smells bad.
No, I like the smell of it. I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, I think.
Fair.
Um, what would mine be? My answer's not silly, but it is deep to me, and I think it's important that we call this behavior out on the podcast. People in locker rooms who don't need to be there,
Oh my God, yes.
taking up space in the back,
I completely agree.
move.
Go away.
Go watch the show. Um, yeah, especially when sometimes locker rooms are so small. You
Yeah.
can barely fit the wrestlers on the card in the locker room. And then there's people who aren't like involved in the show in any way. Leave.
This is
Get
prime real
out.
estate. Some people need to actually be changed. If
Yeah.
you're just there taking up space and you don't need to, I totally agree with that. Could not agree more.
Yeah. I think that's gotta be it for me.
I think that's a good answer. And that essentially, on that note, brings me to the end of the interview. But is there anything else that you want to plug and let everyone know where they can find you?
You can find me on Instagram mainly, which is at Natalie Sykes with like an underscore on the end. That is my same at for like all of my socials. Will I start posting on TikTok? I don't know. If I can be bothered, we'll give it a go. I also don't really tweet that much, but you can find me on Twitter at Natalie Sykes underscore. Um, or I will have some merch coming out soon. I feel like
Ooh.
that's hot goss. And you can find that at nataliesykes.bigcartel.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And everyone, I'll put the links to that in the description, and I really encourage everyone to go check that out and find Natalie at your local independent wrestling show whenever you get the chance.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much for your time today. It's been so much fun just yapping.
Yeah, right?
But
No, it was good. Thank you for having me.
you're very welcome. And yeah, hopefully we will see you. Hopefully I'll get to see you very soon at a show. And everyone, please don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the content and give us a follow and a 5-star rating and all that good stuff. But thank you very much, Natalie, and I'll see you all again very soon.
Hey, thank you. Bye.
I must bid you adieu, goodbye, you rock, and good night, bang!
I wish you died in the womb!